Hey guys, welcome to the show. I thought that it'd be kind of fun to do a little bit of a question and answer thing. I think a lot of times there are people that I teach in clinics, see throughout the country when I'm traveling to events, and they want to know what are the trainers in the sport thinking about different topics. So I thought one of the things that we could try to do here today is a little bit of a question and answer thing. So I've enlisted the help of various people and gotten some questions sent in. And I'm going to do my best to answer those questions in the most frank way that I possibly can. So let's go ahead and see our first question. We'll get right to it.
Hey, John. Question. As you know, there's been many changes to the sport of eventing over the past few years, including adding things like the indoor eventing derby and stuff like that. So my question for you is, which do you prefer, the long format or the short format, and which do you think is better for the sport? Thanks.
All right. It's a great question. And it's one that we've sort of been battling with as a sport throughout the world for a long time. So really there were two different questions there. Quite honestly, we had the question about indoor or arena eventing, and then we had a question of short versus long. So I'll take it sort of one question at a time. The indoor eventing, I think, is something that is super helpful and beneficial to be able to train and produce horses in the off season. To give them something else kind of fun to do when the proper events aren't coming. I will say I think that there's a disconnect between arena eventing and proper cross country, but it gives you the chance to go in and practice a few of the skills. I do have worries about indoor eventing or arena eventing in general as a way to promote the sport. Whenever I've seen it or participated in it, it always seems like it's a bit of a caricature. It's fun for sure, but it's a little bit silly. And typically they do it in show jumping or dressage venues. And quite honestly, the eventers look like they're not as good as the show jumpers in those situations, because where we really shine is out on proper cross country tracks. So to stick us in a ring and make us have to show ourselves off in a ring situation, we're just never going to look as great as proper show jumpers do. So I have some worries about that. For the second part of your question, we've got short format versus long format. And those really are not things that have to even compete against each other. You have short format courses, which are going to be courses that are more like American horse trials. And you go to those to get your horses prepared and qualified to then be able to compete at your end of the season long format 3-day event, what we would traditionally call a 3-day event. Those courses are going to be longer, they're more demanding. You don't really want to do more than probably 2, maybe 3 of those a year. I personally like to do 2. I think anything beyond that gets a little bit hard on the horses. But great question, and let's get on to the next one.
Hey, this is Kyle from California. I was wondering if you had any insight onto why there seems to be a lot of turnover between grooms and working students in the industry, and also if you think that having a grooms union like the one they have in Europe would be helpful to employees and employers to set a standard for what's expected in this job.
All right, Kyla, great question. So I think in general the issue between working students and grooms and sort of a lot of turnover in the industry is that it's a tough job. And really people get into it because they love horses. And then I think as they get into it long term, they start to realize that it's a lot of work. The pay isn't really what you would love it to be. The truth is a lot of times the professionals in the industry, the trainers, don't treat those grooms fairly. I think they try to, they want to, but really it is a tough job. I think it's just about having a good understanding of where you as a groom want to be, that you're in a place where you feel valued, and that you're working for someone who one, can afford to actually pay you properly, so that you feel like there's a reason that you should be going to work and it makes you feel appreciated. You hate to say it comes down to dollars, but actually it kind of comes down to dollars. And then 2, I think good communication with your boss. It's no different than any other job. The union thing, I think, is a little tricky, quite honestly. I mean, in general, I think it's a great idea. I think anytime you can get a group of people together that can work for a common goal, common good, I think that's a wonderful thing. But on the way back from the horse show today, I was listening to the radio, and the United Auto Workers had just finished a 40-day strike against General Motors. That meant all of the people who worked for General Motors in the Flint, Michigan plant didn't go to work. They didn't get paid. They didn't do their work so that they could have some power over General Motors to make things better for the whole group. And that worked because they stuck together. I worry if that would really work. I guess I wonder if that would really work for the grooms, because I feel like, if you got a dozen grooms together and said, you know what, guys, we're not coming to work until we get X, Y, and Z sorted out, I think there's going to be other people who will come in and try to take those jobs. And while they may not do as good a job, I wonder if they're not going to sort of break the union, quite honestly, and force the grooms back into work. So really, I think it's a great idea. I just think if you're going to do it, you guys have to be really, really well organized. And I question whether or not the grooms in this industry are willing to do that and make the sacrifice that would take to really make a difference and make a change. But good luck to you. I hope that if you guys do decide to get a union together, that you can make some real positive changes for the industry. I know I certainly couldn't be doing what I'm doing without my groom. Let's take a look at the next question.
Hey there, this is Emily from New Jersey. I was wondering what you think is most commonly lacking in the education of young professionals in our sport. Thanks.
Hey, Emily. So what's lacking in the education of young professionals in our sport? I think, realistically, part of the issue with young professionals in this sport is that they get into it and they think that they should be able to immediately go to work and immediately make money. And that's not the way it works in any other industry. So if you wanted to go and get a job at a major corporation, you would have to go to university, right? You graduate from college, you go to university or to college, you graduate from high school, and then you go to university or college, you get a degree, and then you go out and you try to get hired. And typically in the horse business, what I see happen with a lot of young professionals that come through is they graduate from high school, they take some lessons, they maybe go work for somebody for a short period of time, maybe 3-4 months, and then they hang out their shingle and say that they're a professional. That's not going to work. You have to have the ability and the desire to stay and really learn somebody's program. When I went away to be a working student when I was 18 years old coming out of high school, I went away and I worked for someone for 3 years. And then after those 3 years were up, I went back and I worked in the winters with that person very closely while running my own business in a separate location during the summers. So, in the end, I put in probably 5 years of real hard education. And then obviously it's a sort of business where you're going to be putting in constant education, lessons, training, staying open-minded, talking to different professionals, instructor certification programs, things like that. So I think, I know that's a bit of a long-winded question, but really the one thing that's missing in young professionals in this industry is realistic dedication. All right, let's go on and see what our next question is.
Hey John Holling, it's Landry Lees from Chicago, Illinois. I want to know who your favorite horse in the barn is and why.
Oh, Landry, a trick question. Who is my favorite horse in the barn and why? Well, I would tell you that my favorite horse in the barn is whichever one I'm sitting on that weekend or that day. So, I think that I'm really lucky. I've got a great group of horses, and whichever one I'm sitting on, I have to believe in. I have to believe it's the best horse in the barn so that I put in the effort, put in the work, and make sure that I get the best out of that horse that I can. I know you're hoping to catch me out. Not gonna happen. Favorite horse? Whatever one I'm sitting on. All right, let's go to the next question. Good try. Didn't happen.
Hi, this is Emily from New Jersey. I was wondering if you thought riding in hot pink or hot purple is a better idea.
All right. Well, that is a tough question. But I will say, let's just weigh out our two options here. You asked about hot pink and hot purple. Hot pink, great color, very bright. Everybody pays attention. They notice you. So if you want to be noticed, hot pink, way to go. Plus, pink brings the attention to breast cancer awareness, which is always a great cause. So that's a plus, right? But now we go on to hot purple. I don't know really what hot purple is, so I'm just going to go with purple because I guess hot purple would be a very electric purple. I don't know that I've seen it, but purple is a great color. Purple is the color of royalty. You've got purple, like Purple Rain, Prince. My wife loves Prince. Prince is great. How could you go wrong there? So purple's looking pretty strong. And then you have Grimace. You're probably too young, Emily. You look like you're fairly young. But Grimace was a character that McDonald's used to promote their restaurants. They had a lot of go. They had Hamburglar, Grimace, the Fry Guy, some kind of a crook guy. I don't remember the cookie thief or cookie crook or something like that. So purple's pretty cool, but I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, and purple is the color of our arch rival Minnesota Vikings. Nobody likes the Vikings. They're nothing but disappointing. You can count the number of Super Bowls they have with no fingers. They're bad. So I gotta say, my choice, hot pink. Way to go, for sure. Hot pink. Not really even debatable. All right, so listen, guys, that's the end of our little segment here today. I hope you enjoyed it. What I'd like you to do is just go ahead, send in more questions. We'll do this occasionally and see how it goes. Do my best to be frank and honest. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Go ahead and email me in questions to the email address listed below, or you can text them in to me as well at my number, which is also listed below, and I will do my best. I prefer it if we can do it as video questions. It makes it a little bit more interesting for everybody watching. But if you're not comfortable with that and you'd rather just send them in a text or an email, I'll keep track of those and I can read them, and we can do it that way also. But in the meantime, you guys keep riding, keep having fun, showing up at the events, and I'll try to say something that sounds at least a little bit smart, and we'll go from there. All right? Have a good evening.